Hello everybody, this is Sue from SueStarcraft, and we have game 2 of the week 1 of the King of the Islands. It's going to be BugRancher versus nazy. nazy taking an early lead, taking the first game 1-0 on Shakur's plateau. Bug just did not have an answer to nazy's marine push. And this map, Zelnaga Caverns, and with my friend Antaran, what do you think about the map and the matchup?
I think it's a pretty vanilla map. There's not really much gimmicky about it. I mean, there's those, line of sight blockers down by the natural, but other than that, I really don't think there's too much about the map that's going to factor into their play, so I think it should be some pretty standard stuff.
I know a lot of people talk about this word, the balance of the map. What do you think about this map as far as balance is concerned?
I think it's great for balance. Some people might think it's a little imbalanced either way, just because the naturals are kind of open, and people can argue back and forth on whether that's bad for races that need to early expand or whatever. But I think it's pretty balanced. It's not too open. There's those kind of pseudo choke points in the middle by the Zelnaga Caverns, so it's not really extremely open. It's definitely not extremely closed, however. So I think it's a pretty balanced map.
Okay. What do you think both of these players will be looking to do on this map? I know the dropships aren't that good on these small platforms, but what do you think we're going to see?
I'm not sure. It looks like BugRancher is going to be doing the same 14 gas, 14 pool opening, which I think is pretty safe against Terran, because he allows you to use that quick speed to deal with any Hellion harass. And he's probably going to try to get a hatchery up like he did last game. I can almost assure that he's going to be much more careful scouting. He missed that second barracks last game. He didn't see the Marines coming out. He didn't have anything placed out front of his base to see the push coming out. So he's probably going to be a lot more careful scouting this game, and we'll see if it pays off.
Okay. Do you expect to see nazy doing the same thing, or you're expecting to mix it up a little bit?
I'm really not sure. nazy is a really aggressive player. As you can see, BugRancher was pretty late on his gas transfer there. So he might be a little bit of an early disadvantage if nazy goes for some Hellions or something like that. He is getting a second gas, so maybe he's getting Banshees or something. It's really hard to tell at this point, but I certainly don't expect him to lose to the same type of attack.
I seriously expect some Banshee play. I know nazy loves his Banshees, and seeing it 2 gas so early on, you could really expect that. No factory just yet. He doesn't. Does he have the gas for it yet? He has it. And he has it now. There it goes. Yeah, he's going now with the factory, so you can expect to see the double Banshee play from him.
I think it was interesting that he decided to spend the gas on the reactor before he started the factory.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a blunder from him. As a Zerg player, what do you think about Banshees?
Obviously, they can be great for harassing, but as everything, you just have to scout and know it's coming. And really, the thing about, as you were saying, you expected double Banshees, especially if it's 2-port Banshees. That's going to really leave the Terran ground force really weak. So you don't really have to build a lot of Zerglings to deal with that. You can build an Overseer and a couple extra Queens and be fairly safe and drone up until your mutas pop, and rendering them fairly ineffective.
And some perfect timing from BugRancher here, seeing the starboard going down as well, seeing the tech lab going up on the factory, so he knows Banshees are on the way. I highly doubt it's going to be Ravens. So yeah, I think he should be expecting it. But do you think he's going to handle it the way the Maga does it and just gets a couple Spore Crawlers down? Well, he's taking up the lane now, so it's not going to be that. But the Maga has this really interesting take on it where he just gets a couple Spore Crawlers and builds a lot of Queens. What do you think about that build?
I'm not a big fan of Spore Crawlers. Obviously, they can be useful, but I think it can definitely be effective. I don't incorporate it a lot, but it can definitely be useful, just since the range for detection is so much longer than their actual range for attack, that you can build one at each expansion and use your Queens with their long anti-air attack to pick off the Banshees.
Excellent. So we see a little switch of tactic here from nazy. nazy using the reactor instead and going to get a couple of Vikings to snipe some overlords. I think that's a good reaction from him, since he doesn't have that surprise factor anymore with the Banshees.
Yeah, and I think had he continued it would have failed due to the fact that the Overlord did scout it nicely. I am a little surprised he didn't have a Marine over there to check for an Overlord coming into his base, but
What I do not agree with him is him putting the starport way up in front, and Bug already scouted that reactors on the starport. He know Banshees aren't coming, so I don't think he's gonna overreact to anything.
Yeah, Sam, I don't think he is either. I think it would have been better had he let him, you know, believe that Banshees were still on the way, make him, you know, maybe spend gas on maybe an extra overseer at home, maybe another one over by his base for scouting or something like that.
Yeah. Now we're seeing Nazi not even utilizing the reactor, so he had no real reason to show his hand there by putting the starport in front.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he really needs 2 Vikings here, but it will be faster at supply blocking him, so I guess we'll see.
Excellent. Now we're seeing BugRancher putting down the Spire. It's just about 1/3 done. Nazi landing the Vikings. I think you should leave them in the air and just fly around and get the airspace instead. Try to deny overlords from scouting anything on the map instead of just suiciding them. He eventually leaves, but both of them are pretty badly hit.
Yeah, but he didn't lose anything, and he did kind of, you know, annoy him, kill an overlord or 2. So I guess you could say it was a decent action there. But building the second Viking, I don't think was really necessary. But like I said, I guess we'll see.
Okay, well, actually, there's actually a 3rd Viking on in Nazi's base, so I don't think we're gonna see him building much more. And Nazi reacting now to the Spire and getting up that engineering bay. I guess we're gonna see a couple of turrets from him just in case meters do come out.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten an armory yet for Thor's. He's continuing to produce siege tanks, but he doesn't really have very much right now. He only has 27 CBs, but doesn't have an expansion on the way, is the thing. So I guess we'll see if he can keep up economically when the meters are coming to kind of contain and to allow Bug to power.
But Bug is pretty much building a lot of marines. He's low on the gas, not seeing any sort of meters from him just yet. Has a idle drone just by the Spire, and here comes Nazi now, just trying to move around. Okay, I see a couple of Mutalist scouts right now. Yeah, they're gonna snipe out these Vikings. So Nazi, I don't think that was really a wise investment. He really didn't do anything but kill a single overlord with it. So a lot of resources wasted.
I'm really surprised he's continuing to produce Vikings because, contrary to popular belief, Vikings really perform fairly poorly against Mutalisks with that splash damage. So I guess we'll see how many Mutalisks that Bug produces here.
If he does push right now, though, it's going to be interesting since Bug doesn't really have any sort of big army behind him.
Yeah, although there are only 2 Marauders and a tank, the rest is Marines, so especially because he's got a decent creep spread here, that speed bonus may be pretty critical in allowing those Baneling to hit big Marine pockets.
And here comes Nazi with the push. Nazi trying to get that reach read on your no siege tech just yet, so you can't siege up the tank. And here comes the Banelings. Banelings going straight for the Marines. And that no, what are they doing? They went up to the tank instead. And these Banelings are not going to do anything to the Marines. I think that's really a poor decision from Bug. He should have gone after the Marines and left the tank for the Mutas, but he didn't do that. Now he is in some well, he isn't in trouble. The Zerglings are picking off the Marines, but I think he made too much of hard work of that. Could have used the Banelings to just snipe out the Marines and then use the Zerglings to take out the tank and the Mutas as well, just there as well.
Yeah, I think there was a little control miss micro there, but nothing too horribly damaging. He didn't lose any drones, I don't think, maybe 1 or 2, so nothing too terribly damaging. It looks like Nazi's pretty much saying I'm going to win on 1 base or not at all, so I guess we're gonna see how this plays out.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Nazi, that's one of the weak points of his game. He's not comfortable with expanding, and since he already made that push early on, he had no units. He just decided, okay, he's gonna make more units and he's gonna continue pushing as well. I don't think that's the best way for him to approach this. And these Mutas are just gonna tear apart that right now, that push. And here come the Mutas taking out that first Viking. And you can just go on to take out the other one, and then the rest of the units there are just gonna be like sitting ducks. So in the case of BugRancher just massing up a whole bunch of Mutas, what could Nazi do to stop that?
Well, right now he's in a pretty bad position. I mean, he is getting a Thor out, which is smart. He's getting his Marine attack, and he has a decent amount of turrets, maybe even excessive.
Yeah, that's what way more to do. It's one,
Six
two.
turrets on base, maybe a little excessive there, but he's at least decently prepared to handle this Mutalisk harass, considering the Thor is going to be out soon. But if BugRancher just does a smart thing and makes him stay in his base, he can probably take the advantage to power a lot of drone. Wow, he's got a lot of money. He could easily put down a third, possibly at the gold right now. So we'll see how he decides to press his advantage.
I think that queen there is stuck in a very, very weird place. Just outside is natural to the right hand side, and she's just in a small crevice below the overlord. Have you seen her?
Yeah, so that is quite strange.
And she's pretty full on energy as well, so that's a bit of a wasted resource from BugRancher. I think right now he could probably knock down those rocks and capture an expansion right there if he wants to.
Yeah, I think so too, but I think it's worth noting that as you see Nazy kind of crawl along the edge here with his medevacs and his Viking, it seems like he might have forgot about